Hey, BassGeek here, and September can be one of the toughest months of the year unless you use these. Geeks, I have been fishing for well over 30 years, and September, as a weekend warrior, has dished out a ton of zeros. But these baits and rigs are the ones that have been the most consistent for me this time of year. September really is transition time, at least in my area. The nights are already starting to get cold about at the end of August, the last couple of weeks of August. And that means during September, the bass are on the move. There's a lot of different ways to chase them. For me, and yes, well before forward-facing sonar, I've chased those suspending bass. And trust me, you can go back and at the end, I'll put a video where I talk about it. And it's well before forward-facing sonar ever come out. Forward-facing sonar has made it a little easier on me. September is a time of transition for the bass. We are in full fall transition, at least in the area that I live, on the Virginia side. The Tennessee side, it starts in some lakes and it don't in others. Starts a little later in the year. But the temperatures start to drop late August here, and that means the water temps start to drop. And that signals to the bass, hey, time to start tying that feed bag on. Now, whether it be you're targeting some of these fish for what is really one of the best jig or crawfish pattern bites of the year, or whether you're focusing on the shad, it is time to go catch a bag. Now, I know it can get tough in September, but if you'll do these two things, you'll look for these two things and use these style of baits, you're going to catch more fish. I love to catch suspended bass, even largemouth, and one of my favorite things to use this time of year is a Duo Realis spin bait, or the spy bait, as it's probably better known. Now you'll see this is my favorite color. This is Ghost Minnow. This is the 80. Now you can go bigger or littler to match the hatch. They make them in several different sizes and weights so that you can get this down deeper. This is an incredible bait this time of year when they're really focused and feeding on those shad balls. Now this is my favorite to throw this time of year because it's got an incredibly good shad profile, less minnow, more shad. And this is the Alpha style from Duo Realis. This is one of my favorites to throw also. This is the CL Dace, D-A-C-E, hope I'm pronouncing that right. But it's got a nice brown back, got a little bit of blue highlights, translucent again. Now, they make some colors. You can throw these in dirtier water, so you want to make sure you check that out. Links will be in the description for all this. But this is the Alpha 62, and it's one of my favorite to throw in balls of shad. So the spy bait is number 5 in September. This new jig from Bass Amigos is really the only jig you'll need. It's got a nice point to it. It sets up, it comes over wood, it comes through some sparser grass. You can flip it in the heavier sizes. This is one of my favorite colors. This is called Mud Whistle. It's like a black, brown, amber color. One of my favorite colors in a jig to throw. Great new jig. This is my other favorite color from them, and this is called the B-Law Crawl. Really great bluegill or crawl pattern for the fall in my area. Now my favorite sizes are either a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce most of the time in these. If they're out a little bit deeper, I'll move on up to the 3/4. Now my favorite is the Versa jig, but it is absolutely number 4 on the list. You better pick up a jig in September. Again, it is a great time, and the bass are going to be feeding a lot on some sort of bait fish, whether that be panfish, brim, or shad, or herring. It is time for the bass to start feeding in September. One of my favorite things to throw, because you've got really 2 different sizes of shad or bait fish in general this time of year, is a little bit bigger soft plastic, because the water tends to get clearer as we get later into summer and into early September. So I like to throw, and you can rig them 100 different ways, a little bit bigger, a 5 or 6 inch. These are both from Ramsey Baits. You can rig these several different ways. There's a lot of ways to rig them. You can rig them straight on a jig head like this. This is from Ledge Head Lures. That little arm keeps your bait on there a lot longer. That's a 1/2 ounce. This is a 3/4 ounce from Dirty Jigs. This is their underspin. Love that little arm, keeps the blade away. You can do a lot of little things with that too. If you haven't seen the video I did on these, you need to go check them out. But these are both from Ramsey Baits. So bigger or smaller. Now these are two of my favorite, just ultra finesse swim baits. This is a 3-inch, 2.75-inch, but you can see they are both super finesse. This is an X-Zone swimmer. This is in Tennessee shad, one of my favorite colors. And this is the Damiki Armor Shad paddle tail in American shad. But these are gonna match those yearling shad fry or brim fry, the smallest of the bait fish that the bass will be chasing in the fall. So swim baits are gonna fill the number 3 position. So again, we're really focused on those fish that are chasing bait fish, and the bass will get more and more focused on those bait fish as September goes along. So what's a great way to catch bass, whether they're busting or they're chasing shad in the early fall? It's gotta be a soft jerkbait. Two of my very, very favorites has to be, number 1, the 6-inch Whiplash Shad by X-Zone. And this is electric shad, and it's one of my favorite colors. And if you haven't seen the video we did on this, you really need to go back and watch it, because this thing's got some incredible, incredible action to it. My other favorite is this, and it's because I fish, you know, a little bit deeper than most people do, and this has got a little more salt in it. This is the Caffeine Shad by Strike King, and this is one of my favorite colors. I love to skip this over into bushes, laydowns, over brush piles, belly weight it, use it as a follow-up to my swim baits or underspins. Anytime I'm getting bites and they're not committing, pick this little bait up, throw it out there, let it drop, pop it 3 times, and a lot of times you'll clean those bass up. This again is Ghost Shad. Again, a lot of different ways you can rig this, and it is an incredible follow-up bait. Now this is a little bit different. We're gonna set this in there as number 2. Also, we're gonna maybe call this 2.5. So we're gonna lump this in there with the soft jerk baits, but this is the minnow baits, so the Damiki rig. And one of my favorites is, of course, the Damiki Armor Shad. Now, this is one of my favorite colors. This is Smoke Black Silver Flake. Now, this little bait was designed to be a drop shot bait, but let me tell you, it is incredible on a ball head jig. And this is absolutely one of my favorite colors. We've been doing real well on it. Joey caught a couple using this very bait. The Hot Shot minnow from X-Zone. And this is Pro Blue Red Pearl. That is a great little clear water color right there. So soft plastic jerk baits and minnow baits, they're definitely number 2. And as I always say, if you can catch them on Topwater, it's got to be number 1. And it is the time to go catch them on Topwater. They should be busting shad at some point in time in your area this time of year. And if they're not, go find somewhere or another body of water that they are, because it's just damn fun. But if they're not busting Topwater, this is a good little choice. This is a buzz bait. This is one of my favorite. This is by Omega Custom Tackle. This is the Alpha Buzz. This thing has got a double blade on it, and let me tell you, it puts out the bubbles. But it's super subtle, which is what I love about it in clear water. Now right behind that is this little bait, and this is actually Gill Fry. Great color to be throwing up in the shallows. This is the new bait from Heddon. This is the Spinning Image. They've added a little bit of a hole so you always get a bubble trail. Now these two baits you can still cover a lot of water with, and they're probably my go-to baits above all. And that is the Heddon Spook Junior. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what this color is. I will call it chrome black back. But this color everybody knows, and this is the one knocker and one of my go-to colors on a new lake. This is bone. Now a new bait that I've really enjoyed throwing this year, and it's kind of a hybrid between a couple of different baits, and that is the Popawaka by Thunderhawk Lures. This thing is kind of a hybrid between a popper and a walking bait, and it does both very well. Again, I don't remember the color. This is my favorite color, but there will be links in the description that'll tell you what color this is. Last but not least, some sort of popper, and this popper right here has really taken over for me, and you guys are going to kill me because I don't remember the name of this color too. They come in a lot of different colors, but again, links in the description. But this is very translucent. This is called the Prank, and you'll notice it's got a bill on it. What I love about this is it'll dive down and has an incredible swimming motion. So you can pop it a couple times, and then if they don't want to eat it, you can make it sort of scramble away from them. And a lot of times that is going to get your bite. So if you want to see a playlist that shows every single month's top 5, make sure you go check this video out. If not, questions, comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell. 100% Watch Squad. You know I love you. And you geeks rock.